In this video I will give you my forecast for week 34 on the major FX pairs. So let's have a look. So as usual I start looking at the dollar index, and that is what we have right here, the dollar index. And we have seen the dollar index broke below this trend line. It's a longer term trend line on the weekly chart. So we have these touches here, 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 and now we've broken. And I said in previous videos that if we stay below it, there's a higher probability that we will continue down, so that the dollar will decline. And it is still looking this way. We did have last week some indecision, meaning that it's not clear, or that the price movement has taken a break. So it's not clear at this moment if we will see a retrace to the trend line and then maybe a rebound and then lower, as I indicated here, or that we will break lower immediately to continue to this area of support. So we will probably see in the coming weeks some possible pivots, so turning points in the pairs trading against the dollar. And we can clearly see that, for instance, if we look at the Euro USD. Also on the Euro USD we had this strong uptrend, and then we have seen this week this indecision pattern. And I said if we will hit this level more or less, and we see some indication like this, we might see a turnaround lower. So let's see what that looks like on the daily. Well, on the daily we can clearly see this uptrend, and then now we had a bearish engulfing pattern. So it could very well happen that if we break below the low of this candle, that we could see a continuation lower to this level. So one way to trade this could be to place your entry below this level and then place your stop above the height, the high points here, and then see if you can get a good risk to reward. Looking at it, it's like a 1-to-1 risk to reward, so that's not too favorable. It's doable, it's minimal possible. Going to the 4 hour, maybe we can get a more tight entry. So we could place a short here and then see if we could take it to this level. Where's this level coming from? Okay, it's from a swing point that we've seen here, and we do have some area here, some consolidation. So this could be an interesting trade for risking 1 to gain 1.5, more or less. So let's move on. Let's switch back to the weekly. Great British Pound. I have said the same thing, that we were heading into this resistance area, resistance zone here, that we would have to see how this would play out, and that a possible trade would be this longer term trade that I indicated on the chart here. And again, also on the Great British Pound against the US dollar, we've seen this indecision candle forming on the weekly. So let's turn to the daily, and then we can see that also here we have this very clear engulfing pattern. So let's remove these markings, remove hide marks. Okay, so a way to trade this would be to enter at the break of the low of this candle with a stop above, and then target this level or this level or these levels, or maybe even all the way down here. So let me show you. I would consider placing an entry below this level here, placing a stop above the highs here, and then see if I can target the lows here for a 1 to 2, or maybe even extend the profit target for 1, 2, 3, or even further all the way out to have a very long-term trade. See, we can trail our stop maybe to get a 1 to 7 risk to reward ratio on this trade. This looks pretty good to me, so I'm really considering taking this. Let's move on. Same here, we have some rejection of these lower levels here, so it's very likely that we will see a bounce higher for the USD against the Japanese yen. Switch to the daily. So looking at the daily, we are there are some buying orders here that are scooping up as price goes lower. So the price went lower here, and then the buyers stepped in. Price went lower here, buyers stepped in. So one way to trade this is that if we break out of this buying area, then we can take it all the way to here, maybe with a stop, a tight stop below this low, or maybe if you're more conservative, below this low. So let's map that out. Could be something like this. Yeah, that's a nice 1 to 2.5 risk to reward ratio. Maybe we could also have a more conservative target around these levels right here, or even more conservative, but then we are not at a 1-to-1 risk to reward. That's the minimum I would want for a short-term trade. This is also an interesting level to target, so that's up to you. A 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5 would be possible on this trade if you place your stop below this swing low, and your entry when at the breakout of this level right here. Moving on to the US dollar Swiss franc, looking at the weekly first. So we are in this consolidation pattern, and we are hitting the lower band here, and there are some more lows here, and we are at that low currently, and then there are furthermore lows right at this level, and of course all the way down here, but that's not too relevant at the moment. So I am in a short position here when I've moved my stop to break even. So let me show you this. So I entered this on the 4 hour, so let's switch to the 4 hour. Yeah, so on the 4 hour we saw price moved back into this selling zone, or this resistance zone, and then price broke lower, or was about to break lower, so I placed an entry below this level and my stop above the height of this wick, and then price moved down sharply. Now it's been retracing a little bit, and I've moved my stop to break even. So if price pops up, then I'm out for a zero gain, zero loss trade. But if price decides to continue, and mind you, the longer term trend is down here, so it's very well possible that this will continue lower, and then we have some more downside to go, and that will be then a trade if it hits the final target or of 1 to 6. So that's pretty nice if that will happen. Let's see. But I'm not taking any risks on this trade anymore. So looking at US dollar CAD, let's switch. Yes, there we are. Yes, we had this uptrend going on, and then I said I would wait for price to come into this area where there's a lot of confluence. So there's this uptrend line, and there's this swing low line, and if price hits here, then I might take a long trade depending on the kind of pattern that forms here. So this is looking on the weekly. We already have some rejection here, but it's very well possible that we will get a very bearish candle here. So we have to see how that develops. So on the daily, what could happen is that we would still continue with this downtrend into these levels, and then I will have to see. So let's see, we could see we have here this downtrend still going on, so we might just have a turnaround here all the way down here, and then we could see a bounce going up, and then I would enter a trade with an entry somewhere around here, and then depending on the low that it made, the stop here, and then targeting something like this. Or actually I would first target these levels right here probably, and then maybe this level or this level. Okay, moving on, Aud USD on the weekly. Oh, excuse me. So we had this strong up move while we are in this longer term downtrend, but it looks we've broken out of this downward sloping trend. And on the daily, let's see what we had here. We had this consolidation going on here, and let's switch to the 4 hour to see if we can get a more of a clear picture. So I have this trade lines on, but I'm actually not in a trade on the Aud USD. This was just for finding some entry levels. I actually don't quite remember what I was looking at here, but looking at it this way, it still looks like we have this upward sloping channel. Let's remove this, and it looks as if we could see a bounce higher, so that would lead to a trade, maybe something like this. So we have a break above this level, stop around the low here, and then we would target these levels or the upper side of this channel. So let's do it a little bit like this. Not quite sure about this trade, although we do have this longer term. If we look at the 4 hour, this longer term trend up, so it is with trend, so that could be interesting, but I'm not convinced yet. Aud USD, New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So let's remove that. Let's go to the weekly first. Okay, so still in this downward trend, moving like this, and on the shorter term we are moving up, and we are hitting these levels here where we have some selling orders probably. We can see that here the selling started, here the selling started. We have some consolidation here, and here it actually was support, and so buying orders were here. So this is a clear level of support that turned into resistance. We're not quite there yet, so we might see some creeping up of the price into this level before we see a sell-off. But let's look on a daily. Okay, on the daily it is actually looking quite nicely here with this bearish engulfing pattern. So if we break below this level right here, then I might consider selling. So that would be something like this. So stop above these levels here, and entering short at the break of this level, and then first target would be around here. So that's a bit too tight. Maybe you would want to place your stop a little bit tighter, something like this. But if you're in it for a longer term trade, you could place your stop here and then maybe target these levels right here. So that's 1 against 2.5, and even lower, or all the way down to here. So that's it for the major forex pairs. I'm not looking in this video at cryptocurrencies or gold or silver. I will do this in a separate video to keep these videos a bit short. So if you're only interested in cryptocurrencies or in gold or silver, you can watch the other videos. And this video is just about the major forex pairs. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I do these videos every weekend, looking ahead for the next week and hoping to give you some insight in how I look at the markets and maybe give you some trade ideas. Thanks for watching, and till the next video.